Errol about
Oh,
the
hold
Bud
on. I
Crawford
think
fight.
I passed it. Hold on.
Kind of like what you and Derrick James had end, and how why did it end? Because in that fight,
Well, I always like to stay out of that if it's not.
is the weight disparity just too much for them to ever fight?
I think it is. I think that she's what,
He
like
talking
40
about
pounds heavier. I
Clarissa
think that.
Shields
But
and
years ago, Clarissa had the.
he's talking about Clarissa Shields and Alicia Baumgartner. Now, when I kept telling everybody that fight makes absolutely no sense. Ask Boxing Hacker. Me and Boxing Hacker was on the panel like, what are y'all talking about? I think that's the first. That's probably the main thing that me and Boxing Hacker absolutely agree on is Clarissa Shields. We definitely see eye to eye on that topic. When I kept telling y'all, Alicia Baumgartner is way too small, y'all. It don't even make no sense. And then the fact that she started clout chasing Clarissa Shields after she popped dirty. She did all that to take attention off of all that. Maybe one day I'll make a video about it. But right now, if you ain't making Clarissa Shields hate videos, the algo is not pushing them out. The algo is not pushing them out. So you don't even see me on here trying to make, you know what I'm saying? But eventually I'll make a video about that with the timeline out. But she too small. She too small. And everybody was like, she should fight her. She should go down. How far down y'all want her to go? And how far up y'all want Baumgartner to go? It don't make no sense.
Go up and down, fluctuate in different weight divisions. That's how she won all those titles, whatever. But I think that it's just a little bit, maybe for her. I'm not for sure because I can't speak for her, but it may be unrealistic to do so.
There's also going to be a big fight coming down in Australia. Errol Spence Jr., your former fighter, is returning after 3 years. What do you think is going to happen in that fight?
Well, I always like to stay out of that if it's not my fight or whatever. So I will never give a prediction because it's not. I mean, I don't know how he trained. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what preparation was like. So I never really get into that. So I'll just say that I wish him the best, and I hope it's really more than that. I hope it's a really good fight. I hope it's a very competitive fight.
Are you surprised that he came back? It's only almost 3 years.
No, I think that sometimes it's always about the right time. Maybe he had some things going on that kept him out of it. He's doing some family stuff or something. I heard somebody he said. So I think he's dealing with that. I mean, that's.
Is it too fast for y'all? I don't see no twos in the chat. David, who is Clarissa Shields cloud chasing? David Lynch. Yeah, I always thought she was too small. Yeah, she was too small.
It's a big deal. I mean, you want to be there for your kids, especially at this very, very young. So you want to be there for them.
DJ, when did your relationship end? And how? Why did it end? Because you were with Errol since the amateurs.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think that the relationship ended when I decided to serve him papers for a particular situation. That's when, because you realize that the relationship is over at that point. So when you serve him papers, it's over.
He recently did an extensive interview with Andre Ward. Errol said, and at one part,
I like how Brian Custer asks questions like he care. Like now, you and y'all were so good. When did the relationship end? I think I need to start doing that. I need to start being a little bit more like empathetic instead of being so direct.
At the very beginning of the interview, by the way, he talked to Andre and he said he saw how Andre and his trainer, Virgil Hunter, had like a father-son relationship. And Andre Ward said, well, I thought that was kind of like what you and Derrick James had. That's what I saw. And he said, no, he never got that. And now he also said, it could have been me too, but I just never got that from him. Your thoughts about that?
Well, I think that I can never have a father-son situation because his father was there. So it's more like a big brother. And I thought that we had something more than what we really, something more than what it really was anyway. I mean, so the answer is I was surprised just as much as Andre Ward was.
Mm-hmm. I think probably, and you know this, the part.
You see what I'm saying? Do y'all see what I'm saying? Where is the mix-up in their relationship? Derrick thinking everything cool, but Earl saying, "Oh, the father-son thing," and it's like, "Yo, daddy, right here, Earl. What do you think?" And then James is like, I thought we had a big brother thing going on, but shit, I guess not. Listen to the interview. So it seems like it's a lot of things that maybe Earl wanted to express and say that he didn't. And so far, that's what I got. And Earl, he seems very emotionally awkward. He seems like a very emotionally awkward individual. Like, you ever meet people like they never just express how they feel, and then you think it's something the whole time, and then you finally hear it and you like, damn, why you ain't say nothing? Like, you really felt like that? I didn't know you felt like that. Why wouldn't you say nothing? Like, why would you? I don't like to be in relationships with people, and I don't mean like romantic relationships. I mean friendships and everything. And you lead me on and let me think something when you know that that's not like, if I think we cool and we partners and we friends and we go out and I pay for stuff, and but I'm just an associate to you. Make that be known. Don't be acting like we friends and we cool and we buddy buddy and we so cool and we together, but you'll go tell somebody else, oh, we ain't really cool friends like that. She's just my associate. Like, no, let me know where we are in this relationship so I can act accordingly. And it seems as though that wasn't communicated between them. Because I don't understand how everybody's so confused. You get me? Like, I don't understand how everybody in this situation is so confused.
That really went viral in the interview was when Andre asked Errol about the Bud Crawford fight. And Errol's reply was, and I'm quoting him, that camp was bullshit. That camp was trash. I've never had the opportunity to ask you about it, but I guess I'm doing it now. How would you describe the camp that you had training for Terrence Bud Crawford?
I won't say that. I won't say that it was. This is what I'll say is that we weren't able to do everything that we do normally to prepare for a fight. The gym was busy at the time. I mean, like, yeah, this kid's running around, Buddy Jordan kid running around the gym. So it was like, it was a different space, but I know that the whole protocol changed right after that. I know no kids in the gym, no this or that, so it's like, if his perception of that, I had 2 other training camps going on at the same time. So it was like, but they never trained at the same time, but they were going on simultaneously. So, I won't say that it was trash, but it's just.
And to me, and 2 things can be true, but to me, it seems like they really felt some type of way when he started working with the other fighters. Could that have affected the time and the attention that Derrick spends with them? Possibly, but in Derrick James' mind, he like, look, I'm working on the same schedule I've been working on with y'all. Because my understanding of their relationship, it was always, boom, we train, we work out, and we go our separate ways. I knew they never had like a close relationship like that. Even Derrick James to me, like, I thought it was a big brother thing. It's kind of like, I don't know. It's just strange. So Derrick James don't feel like it was a bullshit camp, but Earl felt like it was a bullshit camp. Derrick James could be like, I did what I always did, and I did what I could do with everything you had going on. And Earl is like, it was a bullshit camp because he knew he couldn't do all the other shit that he normally do because of his situation and what he had going on. And he's already said it's not on Derrick, but I think, the boxing community wants to place the blame somewhere. And if you ask me, I would personally place the blame on both of them, in my opinion. Let's see what else Derrick got to say.
Perception, so nothing I can do about it.
And so you're not saying, even though you had different training camps going on, it wasn't like he didn't get one-on-one attention.
And no, they never trained at the same time. The only time they would see each other is just they overlapped, right? If somebody came earlier or somebody stayed later.
Another thing I want to comment on. Why do you have your kids at the gym? Why do you have your kids at the gym? The coaches I came up under, ain't no distract. You're not bringing anything with you to practice. But I'm gonna speak more on that because I think Jamel Charlo talks about it later.
That they really just have overlapped. I mean, sometimes AJ would watch Errol spar, and and then he would watch Frank spar, or they would vice versa. They would watch each other, but it was never like I was training them both all 3 of them at the same time. No.
Was it disappointing when you heard him describe that camp like that?
I mean, I think that it was because you think about it, but it's for him though. I mean, like, yeah, okay. He said,
yeah, Derrick, it was. Derrick, don't lie. These guys just do not want to admit that they feel anything. What is that? I hear men on these podcasts complaining all the time about how they don't get to express themselves and they can't and this and that, and then somebody asks you a question to express yourself and then you act like you can't do it. Come on.
He didn't spar. No, he did spar for 2 weeks, and supposedly he got injured within the last week of the sparring, so he couldn't spar for the next 8 weeks.
So he sparred for 2 weeks, and he said supposedly he got injured. Why did he throw the supposedly in there? Why is it a supposedly? Derrick?
Because he suffered an injury in that sparring session. So, or whatever the last week of sparring or whatever. So that's what I mean. So I mean, that's the only thing that was really different, was that he didn't have the ability to spar because he was injured.
And that's, let me zero in on that because it's interesting. He said in the interview, I didn't spar for like 6 to 7 weeks.
He said that's the only thing that was different, was the fact that he didn't get to spar. Now that's a huge thing to be different. But he said that was the only thing that was different. So in Derrick's mind, he like, that's the only thing that was different. Why was the camp ass? Was it ass because you had your kids at the doggone gym being distracted?
Get no southpaw work. Didn't get prepared at all for Crawford's southpaw stance to prepare me to block his jab. Why? So are you saying at the very beginning of camp he injured himself in your sparring, and so that's why he didn't spar? Why wouldn't he not spar then?
Well, from like the second week of sparring, first of all, he had 2 guys that were switch hitters. So they both of them fought left-handed, right-handed. And so supposedly one of them injured him. I didn't see when it happened. So I didn't, and he didn't acknowledge that he was injured, and so, but the next following week we sparred, then we took a day off from sparring, then we sparred.
And this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about as far as the communication. How does Derrick James not know that Errol Spence is injured? How does Derrick James, and this is what I'm telling y'all, somebody lying, but I don't think that they're blatantly lying, right? I don't even think they're lying. I think it's a lot of lying in the sense of there are things you didn't disclose for whatever reason. There were things you did not disclose, and there are things you're still not disclosing. What you said yourself, once you retire, you'll tell it all. So that's why this story is so confusing, y'all, and why it don't really make sense, because